How's it going there, everyone? It's Mr. Zen over here bringing you guys a brand new Bungou Stray Dogs anime discussion. And for today's anime, guys, we are going to be talking about Bungou Stray Dogs episode 15, guys. Now, I'm a little late to the party, guys, but don't get me wrong. I did miss out the last week's episode, but I'm going to do this one and the actual this week's episode as well, guys. So don't worry. But first, let's get started on this episode, because in this episode, it was actually very important and very relevant information that's been going on in this episode. Now, episode 15, guys, is actually very important because of the fact that we actually get to look at Danzai and Urasaku's more of their past involvement with the Port Mafia themselves, guys. But this episode more entitled more with Urasaku himself. Urasaku himself is actually basically the prevailing main character now instead of Danzai-san. Danzai-san seems to be more like a side character than necessarily, I would say, a main character, because Danzai-san is basically being shown as one as basically helping Urasaku and Ongo in their ongoing schematics, because the overall aspect of episode 15 it seems to be showing that Ongo and Urasaku are basically the ones that are actually, I would say, propelling the story forward, and Danzai is basically right there on the side doing his own thing. But the thing is with Urasaku, guys, with Urasaku, holy snap, man, you clearly have to respect this main character, guys. With this main character in this episode, you are wondering that this character went through so much traumatic experience in this episode. You're wondering, like, oh my, like you're wondering if he's gonna be okay after this episode, because in this episode we actually see Danzai and Urasaku actually finally confirm that Ongo himself is actually a triple agent instead of a double agent. We actually noticed that at hand, because at the end of the episode, I would say Urasaku, Ongo, and Danzai-san are actually just having their last chit-chat, you could kind of say, together that they could possibly have, because Ongo is now on the run from, basically, you could say, the Port Mafia and Mimic, but except for the internal affairs, because for a fact that he's actually working for another agency, and in this agency he's basically keeping control of the gifted and supernatural beings that are actually within the, I would say, the Stray Dogs universe. And that's very interesting, because he's basically just not necessarily regulating, but necessarily just keeping track of who and what, who has the power, what powers they do in case they become a threat. And that is very interesting, because you know for a fact that these characters that have these supernatural powers, they really could break the, you could say, the fabric of society. Not necessarily the physical, but I'm saying the laws itself, you know, the way that society is structured itself. They basically, if they go on rampaging with their powers out in the streets, you know, of course, everybody's gonna be like, you know, F the laws, you know, forget the laws, you know, we got these superpowers, why bother to follow us? So no, these characters, Ongo specifically himself, is actually a character in this episode specifically meant to actually just regulate himself. He won't do anything, I would say, out of the ordinary, but it's just that he's just there to just keep tabs on everyone else. Now, that is very interesting with Ongo's character in this episode too, as well, that there's like this really was really depressing, is the fact that this is going to be his last time being able to talk to Danzai and Urasaku. And Urasaku and Danzai are actually, they respect Ongo enough that they could actually call him a friend, that, you know, they actually have to actually capture Ongo as well, because, you know, he actually holds, you could kind of say, the Port Mafia secrets. So it goes along to say that Ongo had to actually, he actually has to fight these guys. He actually necessarily has to does, but because the friendship and trust that he gained out of these two characters, he actually even looks up to and considers it a friend. That he says, no, you know what, that this is the last place that, you know, that I'm gonna be at. And it looked like as if he was having a redemption phase, or he's just like accepting his fate kind of at the same time too. But he necessarily wouldn't like to be caught by anyone else except these two guys, because, you know, like I said, at least then he knows that it's his friends that actually caught him, and actually these guys are his weakness too, which kind of goes on to say that Ongo's personal weakness was making friends, because in this state of affairs that he actually works with, he cannot make friends, because if he does, boom, it'll be a clear sign of weakness, and everything that he's worked with or works with, whatever company that he's actually with, it wouldn't benefit him. It would actually just hinder his actual work. Now, with Ongo himself, guys, Ongo is actually a very interesting character, because at the end of this episode, we don't know where he actually left. He's just gone. That's about it. Like, we don't know where he left. And that's the thing I like about Bungou Stray Dogs, is that they like to keep us in a little bit of mystery with each and every character. Now, that was it for Ongo. Like I said, it was very redemption. so much tragedy with this character. It's so much characterization and exposition with this character. You know, you're wondering as to, my God, this is actually not even part of the main story. It seems it's just all just a flashback. Now, that was just Ongo's part. Holy snap, I'm not even done with Orasaka and Danzai. Danzai himself, like I said, he necessarily isn't the big shot in this, necessarily, but he is actually in this arc is more prevailing for Octagua. Octagua, guys, now he was a very important figure in this episode because of the fact that he actually met Gide, the leader of Mimic, and he actually fought hand to hand with him due to all the conflicts that were happening around the city in the Port Mafia. Now, it's hilarious the fact that it shows that Octagua has a long way to go, and this is all necessarily, like in the flashback, is showing just how weak this character was, and it shows a very deep contrast as to how Octagua has changed over the years, and Octagua has become a different pillar of what he was before too, guys. Octagua is showing much. Has a weak composure. He's emotionally unstable. Like I said, guys, this character is just on the brink of destruction. He literally just doesn't think outside the box. He's just thinking with a tunnel vision, guys, and that's the thing with Octagua as well. You know, he's barely starting to learn how to use his powers too. And it's just like how Dazai said, is that he's basically a sword without its sheath, because all he knows is just how to attack, but he doesn't know how to hold that anger in. He doesn't know how to direct it. Like I said, guys, Danzai-san is very much the teacher that he perfectly needs in order to actually perfect his abilities and as a person as well, guys. And that's the thing I love about these two guys' interaction in this arc itself, because it's showing just how well these two characters and how different they are also in the first season as well. It was very, very different, guys. It's actually very interesting too at how they're interacting in this arc as well. Now, with Urasaku, holy snap, this character, my God, guys, my freaking God. That was interesting in itself. Urasaku actually also met the Mimic leader Gide, but with the help of Octagua. Now, Urasaku saved Octagua in the fight against Gide, because Gide actually has the same powers as, or necessarily I wouldn't say the same powers, but he has a very similar power to Urasaku's flawless technique. Being able to see the past he can able to see the future in the sense, and that was very interesting because Urasaku actually saved Octagua. He didn't necessarily have to save him. But because he did a favor for Danzai, saying that, you know what, he sees you as a potential, you could say a potential person to actually lead the Port Mafia in the future in case Urasaku and Danzai aren't there anymore. And that's the thing about Urasaku that he does. He's clearly looking at him saying that, you know, he has the right attitude, but it's just that it's just not in the right direction, you know. And that's the thing. Like, I'm loving the way that these characters are very intermingling with themselves, and it also goes to show that even though Octagua has this very powerful technique, he still couldn't defeat Urasaku. Urasaku still manhandled him, and that was very interesting, guys. My God, I personally thought that was hilarious. But don't worry, I won't digress. I'll get to the main point. So Gide and Urasaku actually come face to face, and we actually see that these two characters are one and, you know, basically the same coin but different sides, you kind of say. And the reason I'm saying is because Gide is actually looking to act. He looks like he's looking for death. In all honesty, he looks like he's trying to die by the hands of an actual, I would say, a superb being or someone with the high powers himself, and that is Urasaku. Urasaku, on the other hand, is trying to live. He's trying to live a peaceful life. He's trying to live a life away from all the murder, guns, the sex, drug, and all that stuff. He's trying to live away from there. He wants a peaceful lifestyle because that's the kind of man he wants to be. He wants to be free. He wants to be free. He wants to be the man he wants to be. You know, I personally understand that because, you know, he doesn't want to choose that life of crime. That's not him. You know, he's tired of doing that, you know, and that's true, you know. There comes a time when a man say, you know what, I want to do what I want to do, and I don't want to be doing this because I have forced to do. And that's very interesting with Urasaku's character. And it also goes on to say that it's very contrasting towards Gide's ideals. And Gide's ideals is that he wants to create a world where basically it's kind of led by destiny itself. It's kind of weird. Like, he's basically kind of talking like a psychotic lunatic, and really Urasaku looks like he's the normal human being in this episode, like legitimately. And it's crazy too, guys, because Gide himself, he actually, the way that they're actually portraying the fights with Urasaku is very interesting because, you know, these two have the same powers, so they both can see the same future. So they both are basically now have to fight hand to hand and shooting techniques. I mean, that's very interesting in a sense, guys, because you're actually looking at it. You know, if they use their powers, then of course it's kind of cheating, but you know, they can predict the outcome. So now they have to rely, in my honest opinion, fist to fist. Like I said, it's basically whoever has the better techniques with their own basically fists and hands. And that's what I thought was, you know, very interesting in a sense, guys. You know, these two characters, like I said, two sides of the same coin, two sides. Really all in a sense, guys. But like I said, guys, at the end of the episode, we actually noticed Urasaku's actually tragic demise, and that is the little kids and orphans that he actually was, you know, taking care of at this restaurant. They're dead, guys. They're dead. It's gonna shock many viewers at that scene, because it certainly shocked me, and I personally was really I was shocked at the fact that they actually killed those kids, in all honesty. I really was shocked because of the fact that, you know, I wasn't going to think that the Bungou Stray Dogs actually go towards that route. But it seems to lead more to the character development of Urasaku, and that means that he's going to have to go towards and kill Gide. See, like I said, that little scene right there now changes Urasaku's ideals, and that basically will have to force Urasaku now to go on a rampage and gives him a reason now to fight Gide and actually murder him. Like I said, guys, it's very perfect in how well portrayed they're actually doing Bungou Stray Dogs, guys. It's very well, and it's also hilarious the fact that this is a flashback. This is a flashback. It's so dark. It's so tremendous and impactful on how these characters are being portrayed, guys. And yet you're just wondering, like, oh my god, you know, this is not part of the main story. This is all that happened in the past. Like, oh my god, guys, it's so hilarious. But that's it for today's episode, guys. Like I said, I enjoyed this episode very much. Episode 15 was on point, guys. On point. I loved how they're portraying the Port Mafia. Port Mafia has their very own dilemmas that they're facing, but it seems that they're trying to fix it with each and one of the characters having their own ideals. But like I said, guys, let me know down in the comments below, guys, on what you guys think about future happenings going to be happening on this actual arc itself, and how do you guys think this arc is going to end? Because like I said, this arc is actually ending pretty. I'm assuming it's going to be the next episode. Probably that might be the final episode. But who knows? I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna do a review in a couple hours. So don't worry, guys. I'll take it out. But as always, guys, you know that name saying, guys. If you guys enjoy my content, give it a like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Bungou Stray Dogs anime related content. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day. But this is Mr. Zen signing.